Dr. Ethan Carter had always been drawn to the mysteries of ancient civilizations, but nothing fascinated him more than the pyramids of Egypt. As a boy, he'd read of the pharaohs and their colossal monuments, but as he grew older, the questions became more technical. How could a civilization with primitive tools create such perfectly aligned structures? And why did their layout mirror certain star constellations? Now, standing at the foot of the Great Pyramid, he felt the weight of history pressing down on him. The desert sun blazed overhead, but beneath the heat, a chill ran through him. He was here with a purpose: to investigate a recent discovery of an unknown chamber deep within the pyramid, hidden from the world for thousands of years. Ethan descended into the depths of the pyramid with a small team of local workers. As they navigated narrow tunnels, the air grew colder and the silence became oppressive. At last, they reached the sealed chamber, untouched since ancient times. With great effort, they pried open the stone door, revealing a small room lit only by the beams of their flashlights. The chamber walls were covered in strange engravings like any hieroglyphs he had ever seen. These symbols twisted and curved, resembling constellations that didn't match those visible from Earth. Among the carvings, Ethan found a star map, etched with a precision that seemed impossible for an ancient civilization. It pointed to a distant star system, one that modern astronomy had only recently discovered. Suddenly, Ethan's flashlight flickered, and a low hum filled the chamber, resonating through the ancient stone walls. His team exchanged nervous glances, but Ethan's pulse quickened with excitement. He felt a strange connection, as if the carvings were trying to communicate with him. He recorded everything he could before the hum faded, leaving behind an eerie silence. As they climbed back out into the blinding sunlight, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that he had uncovered something that should have remained hidden, a secret buried deep beneath the sands of time, waiting for someone like him to find it. Ethan's nights in Cairo were restless. He pored over the symbols he had copied from the chamber, cross-referencing them with star charts. But the star system didn't match anything the ancient Egyptians should have known. It was as if the map pointed to a place beyond their reach, or any human reach at all. One evening, he visited the dusty archives of Cairo University, searching for any ancient texts that could explain what he had found. Tucked away in a forgotten corner, he discovered a scroll that hinted at gifts from the heavens granted to the pharaohs. The text spoke of beings that descended in chariots of light, sharing knowledge and power before vanishing into the stars. But the final lines of the scroll had been violently torn away, leaving only a warning: beware the return. Ethan contacted his old mentor, Professor Median Bennett, a renowned astrophysicist with a reputation for exploring the fringe theories that other scientists shunned. Miriam arrived in Egypt within days, intrigued by Ethan's findings. Together, they worked tirelessly to decode the symbols. As they unraveled the message, they realized it described a device buried beneath the Pyramida technology far beyond anything known to man. Late one night, as they examined the symbols under dim lantern light, Miriam made a chilling discovery. The engravings included coordinates, not just to the distant star system, but also to locations on Earth. It seemed the pyramids had been built as markers, part of a larger network. But for what purpose? Their research attracted unwanted attention. Ethan noticed strangers trailing him through the narrow alleys of Cairo. Miriam's phone was tapped, and their emails were intercepted. Some organization knew what they were on the brink of uncovering, and they wanted to keep it buried. But Ethan and Miriam were too deep now. They had to know the truth, even if it meant risking everything. Days later, beneath the scorching sun, Ethan and Miriam returned to the Great Pyramid with a small excavation team, digging deeper than anyone had before. As they chipped away at the ancient stone, they uncovered a hidden chamber beneath the pyramid's base. Inside, they found an object that defied explanation, a metallic device embedded within the rock, cold to the touch and humming with an energy that seemed to resonate with the earth itself. The device was unlike anything they had seen before, composed of a strange alloy that didn't match any known element. Miriam speculated that it might be a power source, possibly even a transmitter. But what was it transmitting, and to whom? That night, as they pored over their findings, their hotel room door burst open. Men in dark suits stormed in, flashing government credentials, but offering no names. They confiscated their notes, their recordings, everything that could reveal what Ethan and Miriam had discovered. Before they left, one of the men leaned close to Ethan, whispering, "Some things are meant to stay hidden." Ethan and Miriam were shaken, but undeterred. They knew they were close to understanding the true purpose of the pyramids. As they decrypted the last of the symbols, they realized that the device was more than a transmitter, it was a beacon. It had been sending a signal into deep space for thousands of years, but now, the message was being answered. That night, a tremor shook the desert, and a strange light flared from the tip of the Great Pyramid, piercing the sky like a celestial flare. The hum from the device grew louder, resonating through the ancient stones and the sands beyond. Ethan and Miriam realized with growing dread that they had activated something they did not understand. As the light from the Great Pyramid intensified, the ground rumbled beneath their feet. The air crackled with energy, and a vortex of light opened above the pyramid, swirling with iridescent colors that seemed to bend reality itself. The portal flickered, unstable, but slowly solidified into a doorway between worlds. From the swirling light, a figure emerged, tall, humanoid, yet unmistakably alien, with elongated limbs and eyes that glowed like distant stars. It moved with a grace that seemed unnatural, and as it approached, Ethan felt his thoughts blur, as if the being was speaking directly into his mind. Images flooded his consciousness, planets unknown, civilizations lost to time, and a warning that chilled his blood. "You have awakened what should have remained buried. They are coming." The figure reached for the device, deactivating it with a touch, and the portal began to close. Before it vanished completely, the being looked back at Ethan. Its eyes filled with something he couldn't decipher, pity, perhaps, or sorrow. Then it disappeared, leaving the pyramid silent once more. Ethan and Miriam barely had time to process what had happened when the agents returned, furious and afraid. They detained Ethan and Miriam, locking them in a secret facility, but their questions were laced with desperation. Strange objects had appeared in the skies, disrupting communications and triggering power surges. The agents believed Ethan and Miriam knew how to stop whatever was coming, but they had no answers. Days passed, and the sky over Cairo darkened. Reports flooded in of strange metallic crafts hovering over cities, and an otherworldly energy crackling in the air. When Ethan and Miriam were finally released, it was not as free people, but as a last hope escorted back to the Great Pyramid by a military convoy. Desperate to understand the ancient technology that lay hidden within, the pyramids, now surrounded by military forces, became the center of a global crisis. Ethan realized that the device had been more than just a beacon. It was a shield, a barrier protecting Earth from whatever lay beyond the stars. By deactivating it, they had exposed Earth to an ancient threat that had waited millennia for a way back. As Ethan and Miriam reactivated the device, the Great Pyramid roared to life, beams of energy shooting into the sky, forming a protective dome. But outside the barrier, shadowy shapes loomed, vessels of unknown design, larger than any human aircraft, hovering with silent menace. The beings from beyond had returned, and Earth stood on the brink of invasion. Ethan and Miriam knew they had only one chance to harness the ancient technology within the pyramids, using it to strengthen the barrier and repel the invaders. As the first of the alien crafts descended, the battle began, with beams of energy clashing against technology that was as old as the sands themselves. In those final moments, as Ethan directed the pyramid's energy into the sky, he realized that the history he had spent his life studying had never been fully human. The ancient Egyptians had known the truth. They had glimpsed the stars and seen what lay beyond. And now, he understood why they had sealed away their knowledge, buried beneath layers of stone and time. The pyramids held, their ancient powers surging against the invaders. But Ethan knew this victory would only buy them time. Somewhere among the stars, something greater still watched, waiting for the next opportunity. And as the skies cleared and the threat receded, Ethan looked at the Great Pyramid with new eyes, not just as a monument to human achievement, but as a sentinel, guarding the secrets of a universe far larger and more dangerous than anyone had ever imagined. And the secrets beneath the sands would remain, waiting for the next brave or foolish soul to seek them out.